Hello, dear viewers. You are on the channel where the scariest and most mysterious stories come to life. True events, dark legends, and fictional tales that will send shivers even down the bravest spine. Every story here is a journey beyond the ordinary. If you enjoy fear and the unknown, subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to leave a like so you never miss a single story.
Today, I'm going to tell you a story that has haunted me my entire life. This is not just a story, it's my personal pain, the pain of all those boys who were caught in the fire on that terrible March evening in 1959 at the Arkansas Negro Boys Industrial School. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button, it means a lot to me to keep stories like this alive. He remembered that March evening in 1959 when everything changed forever. At the Arkansas Negro Boys Industrial School, he lived like in a prison, where every day was a trial and hope slowly died. His name was James, and he was one of the boys trapped inside that old building when the fire started. He saw the terror in the eyes of others as smoke began filling the hallways. He woke up to the strange smell of smoke and noise spreading through the corridors, but the doors were locked from the outside, and he couldn't get out. That feeling of helplessness was the most terrifying in his life. He tried to open the door, but there was no key, and that realization made his heart beat faster with fear and despair. It felt like the walls were closing in, suffocating him. His friends shouted and tried to break the windows to escape, but not everyone managed to get out, and he watched the fire quickly spread through the wooden walls, consuming everything in its path. He felt the smoke filling the room, and every breath became harder, but he didn't give up and tried to help others escape. He pushed and pulled, hoping to save at least someone. In his memory remained the faces of the boys who couldn't run away, and he forever remembered their fear and pain in their final moments. These images still haunt him in nightmares. He would never forget how the firefighters arrived too late, and how he, trembling from cold and fear, stood outside watching the building burn while the screams slowly faded. His life changed forever after that night. He became a witness to how the system ignored the tragedy and refused to admit its mistakes. He felt betrayed and abandoned. He often thought that if the doors had been unlocked, many lives could have been saved, but back then, no one cared about children's rights, they were treated like prisoners. He remembered how every day started with a round of checks, when guards inspected whether all doors were locked, as if they were holding the most dangerous criminals, not teenagers. His friends mostly came from poor families. Many ended up there for minor offenses like stealing food or wandering the streets. They were not criminals, just unfortunate children. He heard stories about the cruelty of the guards, about beatings and humiliations, but never imagined their lives would end so horribly, engulfed in flames with no chance to survive. His heart ached thinking about the boys running through the fire, trying to find any way out, but all paths were cut off by merciless flames. He remembered how the smell of burning would haunted him for weeks and months after the fire. That smell became a symbol of his pain and trauma, which he still sometimes senses. He saw the faces of parents who came to pick up their children but found only ashes and grief. Their screams were the worst thing he had ever heard. His own family lived far away, and he couldn't return home right away. He stayed in a shelter for a long time, trying to cope with the nightmare he had survived. He often asked himself why no one was held responsible for the death of so many children. Why the guilty went unpunished and their lives were forgotten. His memory holds every detail of that morning, the silhouette of the burning building, the crackling sounds of wood, the screams, and then the silence that was even more terrifying. He often thought about how those boys could have grown up, built families, and achieved something in life, but everything was cut short in a moment of someone's neglect. His faith in justice was shattered. He realized that there is much evil in the world, and some people simply do not care about others' lives, especially those of different children. He remembered how long he was tormented by nightmares. Every night he relived the fire again and again, waking up drenched in sweat, unable to shake the horror. His only consolation was the thought that he survived. He had to live for himself and for those who died, so their story would not be forgotten. He often visited the place where the school once stood. Now it was empty, just overgrown ruins, but for him, it was sacred ground where the souls of his friends rest. His voice trembles when he talks about it, even after so many years. The pain hasn't gone away, it has simply become part of him, part of his story. He hopes that his story will help people understand that such tragedies must never happen again. Every child deserves safety and protection. His mission is to tell the truth because such things must not be silenced. Silence makes us accomplices, and he refuses to be one. He knows many will not believe him, will say it's a made-up story. But he was there, he saw it all with his own eyes, and his words are not fiction but reality. His words are the voice of those who can no longer speak. The voice of 21 boys whose lives were cut short too soon and so senselessly. He always wondered what the boys felt in their last moments. Did they feel fear or despair? Or hope for rescue? His heart still tightens when he remembers his friends. He sees their faces, hears their laughter before that fateful day. He remembered how they dreamed of freedom, how they would leave that school and start a new life, but their dreams burned along with them. His parents cried when they learned he survived. They were happy, but their joy was overshadowed by grief and tragedy. He saw how this tragedy affected the whole community, though it was not openly discussed then, but change began, albeit slowly. His life became a testament that justice sometimes comes very late, but it can still come if people fight for it. He often thought about how his life would have been if he hadn't ended up in that school, if he hadn't survived that fire. His character was forged in the fire of that tragedy. He became stronger but also more cautious, always ready for the worst. He hopes his story will help prevent similar events in the future. That people will be more attentive to children's rights. His voice sounds confident despite the pain. He wants every word to reach the listener so no one can ignore this truth. He knows it's hard to listen, but it's even harder to live through. And he asks not to turn away from this story but to learn from it. His path was difficult, but he always remembered those who stayed in the fire. Their memory gave him strength to move forward. He often imagined how his friends would look now if they had survived. Who would they have become? What families would they have built? His pain may never fully fade, but he learned to live with it, turning it into motivation to fight for justice. He knows not everyone is ready to hear such stories, but he will keep speaking because it is his duty to those boys who died. His life is a living monument to those who could not survive. He lives for them, breathes for them, speaks for them. He remembers every detail of that night: smoke, screams, the smell of burning, helplessness, fear. It all etched itself into his flesh. His heart still aches, but he does not allow himself to break. He is strong for those who could not be strong. He often meets with other survivors. Together, they remember, share their stories, and support each other. His voice matters. It is the voice of a survivor, a witness, the voice of someone who saw horror with his own eyes and is ready to tell about it. He speaks not for himself but for those taken by the fire. So their suffering is not in vain. His story is not just words, it is a cry from the soul that must be heard by everyone who values human life. He hopes this story will touch the soul of every listener and make them think about what truly matters. His memories are alive, and he will not let them die. He will carry this truth until the very end. He believes that memory is a powerful force that can change the world for the better if used wisely. His words are bricks in the foundation of a future where such tragedies will be impossible. He wants everyone who hears this story to ask themselves, what if it was my child? My brother? His story is not just the past, it is a warning for the present and future so that we do not repeat mistakes. He asks not to forget that behind every number, behind every statistic, there are real human lives, real destinies. His life became an example of resilience and courage, showing how a person can find strength to live after such a tragedy. Thank you for listening to his story until the end. It was not easy, but very important to him. If his words touched you, please like and subscribe to the channel. This will help spread this story. Share this video with your friends and loved ones so more people learn about the Arkansas Negro Boys Industrial School fire. Write your thoughts and feelings about this tragedy in the comments. He would be interested to know your opinion. His mission continues, and he will share new stories to keep the memory of important events alive. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss new episodes. He will always be waiting for you here. See you in the next video. Take care of yourselves, cherish life, and remember those who didn't live to see today.